Being nice to a narcissist only fuels their behavior because it reinforces their sense of superiority and control. Narcissists thrive on admiration, validation, and manipulation. When you're overly nice or constantly accommodating their needs, you're essentially feeding into their ego. You're giving them what they want, and this encourages them to continue their toxic behavior. The truth is, being kind or pleasant with a narcissist isn't about helping them. It's about making them feel powerful and in control of the situation. The more you allow this dynamic to continue, the more it strengthens their sense of entitlement and keeps you stuck in a cycle of manipulation. Narcissists often use kindness and charm to draw people in, but their ultimate goal is to gain power over others. When you give in to their demands, constantly trying to keep the peace or make them happy, you're reinforcing their unhealthy need for dominance. This can lead to a situation where you begin to lose sight of your own needs, desires, and boundaries. Over time, you may feel emotionally drained, as though you are constantly walking on eggshells, trying to please them. The more you act in ways that cater to their desires, the more they will expect from you, and the more they will take without ever giving back. Being nice to a narcissist is often rooted in a desire to avoid conflict or maintain harmony. But it's important to understand that this only serves to prolong the unhealthy relationship. The narcissist will never truly appreciate your kindness because their need for validation is endless. No matter how much you give, it will never be enough to satisfy their insatiable thirst for admiration and control. In fact, your kindness may even be perceived as weakness or an opportunity to take advantage of you. The key to breaking free from this dynamic is to stop being nice and start being firm and clear about your boundaries. Being kind is different from being submissive. You can still be compassionate without sacrificing your needs or your sense of self. Recognizing that being nice to a narcissist will only enable their behavior allows you to shift your focus toward your own well-being and create a healthier, more balanced relationship. Setting firm boundaries is essential for protecting yourself when dealing with a narcissist. Narcissists have a unique ability to push the limits of those around them, testing how far they can go without facing consequences. Without boundaries, they will continue to manipulate, control, and drain your energy. Boundaries are not only about protecting yourself physically, but emotionally and mentally as well. They are a clear statement of what you will and will not tolerate, and they are the key to maintaining your sense of self and your well-being. When you set boundaries with a narcissist, you are taking control of the relationship instead of allowing them to dictate your actions, feelings, or decisions. Narcissists thrive on the ability to control others, so when you establish clear limits, you disrupt their ability to manipulate you. It's essential to be firm and consistent with your boundaries because narcissists will test them, they will attempt to push against them, or make you feel guilty for enforcing them. This is where many people struggle, as they might feel uncomfortable standing firm or fear backlash. But by compromising your boundaries, you only reinforce the idea that it's acceptable for the narcissist to overstep. Setting boundaries requires you to be clear about your needs and desires, which can be uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to being accommodating. But it is crucial for your emotional health to communicate what is acceptable and what isn't. For example, if a narcissist tries to belittle you, you need to immediately assert that such behavior is unacceptable. If they try to manipulate or guilt trip you, stand firm and refuse to engage in those tactics. The key is to not get caught up in their emotional drama and to stay calm and resolute in your response. It's also important to remember that boundaries don't have to be complicated or confrontational. You don't need to explain yourself endlessly or justify your decisions. A simple, clear statement can often be enough. For instance, you might say, "I'm not comfortable with that," or "That's not something I'm willing to tolerate." By doing this, you are reclaiming control of your emotional and mental space and sending the message that you will not allow the narcissist to dictate your reality. Setting boundaries with a narcissist is not about being harsh or punitive. It's about self-preservation. It's about respecting your own needs, protecting your peace, and ensuring that you don't lose yourself in a toxic dynamic. Stop seeking validation from a narcissist because it will never be enough. Narcissists thrive on control and manipulation, and they often draw you in by making you feel like you need their approval to be worthy. They will make you believe that their validation is the key to your happiness or success, which leads to a constant cycle of seeking their approval, only to be left feeling unfulfilled and drained. The truth is, no amount of validation from them will ever fill the void they leave behind. Their need for admiration is insatiable, and they will never give you the emotional security or affirmation you're looking for. When you seek validation from a narcissist, you are giving them control over your self-worth. You end up relying on their opinion of you to determine how you feel about yourself. This creates an unhealthy dynamic where your emotional state becomes dependent on their ever-changing behavior. If they're in a good mood or treating you well, you may feel good about yourself. But if they're distant, critical, or dismissive, you'll feel bad about who you are, constantly shifting your identity based on their reactions. This inconsistency is emotionally exhausting and ultimately disempowering. The key to breaking free from this cycle is to stop looking to the narcissist for validation and instead learn to validate yourself. Self-validation comes from within. It involves acknowledging your own worth, appreciating your strengths, and recognizing your achievements without needing anyone else's approval. This means looking at yourself through the lens of your own values and not letting the narcissist's approval or criticism determine how you see yourself. Self-awareness allows you to reclaim your sense of identity and confidence independent of their influence. To stop seeking validation from a narcissist, it's essential to build your own internal foundation of self-worth. This can be done through self-reflection, affirmations, and by recognizing your intrinsic value. Focus on what makes you unique, your skills, your passions, and your accomplishments. Surround yourself with people who support and uplift you, and remind yourself regularly that your worth does not depend on someone else's opinion. The more you practice self-validation, the more empowered you will feel and the less power the narcissist will have over your emotions. By no longer seeking validation from a narcissist, you shift the power back to yourself. You stop allowing them to control your emotional state and start building a healthier, more grounded sense of self. The narcissist's opinion of you no longer has the power to dictate your happiness or sense of value. When you validate yourself, you take back control of your life and your emotional well-being. Prioritizing your emotional well-being is essential when dealing with a narcissist. Narcissists are experts at draining the emotional energy of those around them, often leaving their victims feeling exhausted, confused, and emotionally depleted. This happens because they thrive on manipulation, seeking to control your thoughts, feelings, and actions to serve their needs. When you allow a narcissist to take up too much space in your emotional world, you lose touch with your own needs and start neglecting your well-being. To break free from this toxic dynamic, it's vital to put yourself first and prioritize your emotional health, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. The first step in prioritizing your emotional well-being is recognizing when you're being emotionally drained. Narcissists often create a cycle where you feel responsible for their happiness, and this dynamic leads you to constantly give more of yourself without receiving anything in return. You may feel guilty for not accommodating their needs or feel like you're walking on eggshells to avoid triggering their anger or disapproval. This type of emotional imbalance is unsustainable and can cause anxiety, depression, and a loss of self-esteem. Recognizing these signs early on is crucial because it allows you to take action to protect yourself. One of the most effective ways to prioritize your emotional well-being is by setting boundaries. Boundaries are a way to communicate what is acceptable and what isn't, and they are essential for maintaining emotional balance in any relationship. With a narcissist, boundaries are non-negotiable. You must be firm in communicating your limits and ensure that you enforce them consistently. For example, if a narcissist is constantly making demands or belittling you, you need to assertively express that this behavior is unacceptable and that you will not tolerate it. Setting boundaries helps protect your energy and prevents the narcissist from draining you emotionally. In addition to setting boundaries, it's also important to practice self-care. Self-care involves doing things that nurture your mind, body, and spirit, whether that's engaging in activities you enjoy, seeking professional support, spending time with positive, supportive people, or simply taking time to rest. Self-care helps you regain a sense of balance and reminds you that your emotional well-being matters. It's also an act of self-respect that signals to the narcissist that you will not tolerate emotional abuse or manipulation. Finally, remember that prioritizing your emotional well-being may require distancing yourself from the narcissist. While this may be difficult, it's important to realize that protecting your emotional health is not selfish. It's necessary for your survival. The more you prioritize yourself, the less power the narcissist will have over you. When you take back control of your emotions and invest in your well-being, you can start healing from the effects of their manipulation and reclaim a sense of peace and balance in your life. Learning to walk away and reclaim your power is one of the most important steps in breaking free from a narcissistic relationship. Narcissists have a way of making you feel trapped, constantly manipulating, controlling you to serve their needs while disregarding yours. They often use guilt, intimidation, and emotional manipulation to keep you tethered to them, making it difficult to break free. But walking away is not just about leaving the relationship physically. It's about reclaiming your emotional and mental freedom. It's about taking control of your own life, setting the stage for healing, and putting yourself first. Walking away from a narcissist often requires a shift in mindset. Many people stay in toxic relationships because they feel guilty or responsible for the narcissist's feelings or behavior. Narcissists are experts at making you feel like you owe them something even when they offer you nothing in return. They convince you that your value is tied to their approval or that you need them to feel validated. Walking away requires you to break free from this manipulation and realize that your worth is not defined by their treatment of you. You do not owe them anything, especially not your peace of mind or happiness. Listen to me, because what I'm about to tell you is going to change the way you approach toxic relationships. Being nice to a narcissist, trying to please them, hoping they'll change, it's never going to work. You cannot fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed, and you certainly can't heal someone who thrives on manipulating and controlling others. But here's the good news. There's a better way. There's a way to take back your power, protect your energy, and start living on your terms. It's not about giving in or compromising your values. It's about setting boundaries, standing firm, and learning how to use your strength to break free from their control. If you're ready to stop being drained and start taking control of your life, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Let's dive in and discover what will truly make a difference when dealing with a narcissist. The decision to walk away can feel overwhelming, particularly if you've invested a lot of time, energy, and emotion into the relationship. The fear of losing what little connection you may have left, or the uncertainty of life after the narcissist can make it difficult to take the first step. However, the longer you stay, the more you lose yourself in the process. Narcissists thrive on keeping you dependent on them, whether emotionally, financially, or mentally. Walking away is a bold declaration that you refuse to remain in a relationship that drains you, disrespects you, and prevents you from living the life you deserve. Taking that first step often means distancing yourself physically and emotionally. You may need to set firm boundaries, limit contact, or completely cut ties with the narcissist to break free from their hold. This is not about being mean or vengeful. It's about protecting yourself and taking back control of your own life. Walking away means choosing your peace, your self-respect, and your emotional well-being over the chaos and toxicity the narcissistic brings. It's a courageous act of self-preservation, and it's the only way to start the healing process. Once you walk away, it's important to give yourself time to heal. Walking away is not the end of the process, but rather the beginning of a new chapter where you can rediscover yourself and rebuild your life. It may take time to fully let go of the emotional damage that the narcissist caused, but with each step you take away from their influence, you reclaim your power. Walking away is an act of empowerment, signaling that you are no longer willing to be controlled or manipulated. You are choosing to live for yourself, and that is the first step toward real freedom.